So we back. It feels good. We had a little bit of a grind week last week with this Marvel What If series season 2. If you guys didn't check out those episodes, be sure to go in our archives and it'll be right there. Actually, matter of fact, I'll probably leave the link in the description for the playlist because it's our first playlist. So we'll be honored if you guys would check that out. Now, you guys see the topic. We're gonna be talking about some Doctor Strange. I know we've been going back and forth with some possibilities as far as Kang the Conqueror, who's going to replace the actor for Jonathan Majors, considering the fact that they're scrapping that. The possibility of adding another villain in there, or substituting a villain in there. We had the Doctor Doom thing. We're all going to touch on that in this episode. But what gave birth to this particular topic was, again, be sure to check out the What If series. This is going to be spoilers for episode 9. Is that Doctor Strange in What If season 2 episode 9, in this universe, Doctor Strange was maybe you'd be better off explaining this better than I am, but go right ahead.
All right, we had Doctor Strange in season 2 of What If episode 9. Doctor Strange is the sorcerer supreme in this multiverse. And he was collecting heroes and villains in order to feed the what was the little portal again?
It's called the Multiversal Forge.
The Forge, there we go, the Forge, yeah. To feed the Forge in order to create another universe. So he went rogue in this episode because he was supposed to be guarding the multiverse. In actuality, he ended up basically almost destroying it. So this is where the topic goes. Is Doctor Doom end up becoming a villain? I mean, not Doctor Doom, sorry. Because we're going to be talking about different topics, but Doctor Strange became a villain in this. And I don't know, I think we talked about this off screen that we really did like where this route was going with him becoming the next villain. And I think there's a possibility that you can bring him back to do this. Like we stated before, that I just don't see them bringing another villain, making a new villain up and having him replace Kang the Conqueror.
Right. So again, we touched on quite a few villain replacement possibilities. Now, first things first, let's go ahead and let's jump into Doctor Doom. That's like the number one possibility out there right now, and we talked about it, right? How this was not going to work. If we just want to reiterate that again, why this is that we don't think it's going to work, considering the fact of the timeline that we have until we get to the next Avengers movie.
Correct. Before we go forward, I mean, there's a couple of reasons why I personally believe this, and I know you probably would agree with me. Not only was the role of Benedict Cumberbatch really great, seeing him as a villain, because we didn't expect him to turn out to be the villain at the end of season 2 of What If. But now seeing him as a villain made me sympathize for him and why he had a mission to stop to recreate to recreate his own universe that he destroyed in season 1. One is that he's a Nexus being. For those who don't know what a Nexus being is in the MCU, a Nexus being is a person who is the same or looks identical in every universe. An example is Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff. She's the same person in every universe. This was stated in Doctor Strange's Multiverse of Madness. Kang the Conqueror is the same in every universe. There's always a Kang. That's hence why there was the great multiverse war, or the Kang Wars, as they called it. Loki, I believe he might be he's a variant. But there is always a Loki in every universe. So if you're going to create another villain who is just as devious as Kang the Conqueror, you would need to have someone who is the same person in every universe. Hence why I think Doctor Strange could go that route, being the next villain, the next big bad. He's already a beloved character. We already watched him grow. I think Marvel intended for him to replace Robert Downey Jr. as the next Iron Man, and I'm not saying as someone in a suit. I'm saying in the role as the main
leader.
Actor, the leader for the Avengers. So I think seeing him change roles from a hero to a villain or an anti-hero would be a great opportunity like that you can't miss. And I think Marvel might be stirring something up. Maybe it just is me. Maybe I'm just a little excited to talk about this. But I mean, I don't know. What do you think?
So we look back when we at the Avengers Endgame, and we saw Doctor Strange in what, two movies? So he did. There was two movies done. There was Multiverse of Madness with Wanda, and
Mm-hmm.
again, like I told you, that should have just been named. That should have been a Wanda movie. It shouldn't have been a Doctor Strange movie. And then, of course, you have him in the Spider-Man No Way Home movie, where he kind of was that acted like that leader, that replacement mentor for Peter Parker in that movie without excuse me, Robert Downey as Iron Man. So uh, I could see them originally going that route as Doctor Strange being like the leader, and then of course as we how things have unraveled in the Marvel Cinematic Universe at the end of Multiverse of Madness, Charlize Theron's character, what was her name again?
Uh, Christine Palmer.
No, Charlize Theron,
Oh,
Dormammu's
uh,
daughter. She came in.
uh,
She came in and said, "I need your help to save the multiverse." So if we're
uh,
gonna go ahead and just close the book on the whole Kang thing,
mm-hmm.
like you said, Doctor Strange is a beloved character. At the end of Multiverse of Madness, Christine Palmer in almost every single universe, they're not meant to be together. It's a very very relatable character, as you see with all these Marvel big bads, like, well, Marvel bad guys in general that I've noticed is where there's really no there's like you can understand why they do what they do, but at the same time they still everybody the opposing side fights for what they believe in, that they do not agree with that. So it makes sense if we're just gonna do like a quick little audible. We can do a quick little audible. All right, cool. Scrap Kang. Put in Doctor Strange. We know who he is. We know his character development. We know his backstory. We can go ahead and somehow, some way fit him into the multiverse, where we're already in the multiverse. We can go ahead and bring back that same variant that we saw in Multiverse of Madness somehow, and then boom, we're done.
I can see that. Oh, by the way, it's Clea.
Clear. Excuse me. Sorry.
Yeah. In the comics, for those who don't know, Clea is becomes the wife of Doctor Strange. At first, they have uh like a rivalry with each other, and then they end up becoming friends, and they become more than friends. Um, I totally agree. I mean, you need to have a reason why Doctor Strange becomes a villain, and I mean, I think his love for Christine is a really good decision to make, as we saw in What If. But you can make it more dramatic. Maybe he wants to become like the strongest sorcerer in the world, and he just decides to tear the multiverse up. Or we could have that Doctor Strange that we know now, and he ends up becoming the villain. Who knows? Like, I mean, or we could have this Doctor Strange Supreme from What If come back and play. He can play a bring him back in the live action movie and play him as a villain, because his whole goal was to be able to be with Christine the entire time. Because if we
Right.
go back to episode 4 of season 1, what if Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands? The whole point of him doing what he was doing is because in the main timeline, going back in the 616, Doctor Strange was in a car accident which caused him to lose his hands. Hence why he wasn't able to become a surgeon anymore. And he got into the mystic arts, which led him to become Doctor Strange, the Sorcerer Supreme. But in this timeline, I can't remember the universe, the number of the universe. I think they said it in season 1, but it's not either here or there. But in this episode, Doctor Strange was in a car accident alongside Christina, and every time he had the car accident, she had to die. And it's kind of like a Uncle Ben situation with Peter Parker. He needed to have a tragic loss in order for him to become the Sorcerer Supreme in his universe, but he wanted to constantly bring her back. He became the Sorcerer Supreme was able to have the time stone with him, and he went back in time and tried to save her. No matter what he did, the universe always found a way for her to perish, which is sad and really like dramatic, because no matter what he did for the love of his life, he was never supposed to be with her, and no matter how much he tried, he ended up succeeding at one point. He got into some heavy sorcery. I believe he found the Darkhold in his universe and was collecting creatures, magical creatures, in order to get a power boost in his magic. And then he was able to bring Christina back from the dead, which caused the incursion in his own universe to implode. And the Watcher was there and offered him an opportunity for a second chance, but he had to give up Christina. Why in season 2? Why his whole motive was to bring back Christina wasn't told until the very end. He did what he did because he did it for love. He wanted his universe and Christina to live a life, but in order to do this, he had to sacrifice himself. In his universe, he was no longer existed in that universe. This is the first time that we find this out. Like, I didn't think that was possible because he is a Nexus being. He's supposed to exist in every universe. So the fact that he gave his own life up for his universe so that everybody could relive the mistake that he did, that he created, is pretty deep. So, like, seeing another Doctor Strange come back and try to either repeat this or actually succeed or trying to combine different universes in order so he could live with Christina in another universe could be the motive for an Avengers movie. Like, seeing him like have a love for someone just to tear up the whole universe, because we did get this in the Multiverse of Madness if you think about it with Wanda, because he pretty much did the same thing because they were similar beings. She wanted, in every universe, Wanda Maximoff had children. The same Billy and oh my god, I forgot the other kid. Tommy, Billy and Tommy. She had Billy and Tommy in WandaVision. She created them out of nothing. She's a Nexus being. She's the Scarlet Witch. She could create something out of nothing. The fact that she was able to create the same children that she had in every universe is not a coincidence. Because she could have created children that didn't exist in the multiverse. But the fact that she did is that means something had happened. It was supposed to play out that way. So, right. As we know, she tried everything in her power to be with her children, which even got dark because even Doctor Strange goes, he said, what happens then when you actually able to travel to another universe where your kids exist? What happens to their mother? She just looked at him and with a face like, I am their mother. It's pretty dark if you think about it. That she's willing to kill her another version of herself just so she can be with her children. I mean, the fact that she has children in other universes, isn't that enough? That was what Wong stated at the end of the movie. Is that not enough to know that there are other universes where you are still their mother? Like, is that not good enough for you? It gets pretty deep. Like, I mean, think about it. Like, so I could see like another movie where Doctor Strange becomes an evil version of himself, or have the Doctor Strange in our universe become evil for another reason, but make it just something, good, even if it's for love or something else, or for greed or power. Or like you could have a twist off where how he saved the universe by allowing Thanos to have the Time Stone, have something similar to that. Like it was a choice he had to do.
Right.
So what I'm trying to get with this, because in Secret Wars, in the new editions of Secret Wars, you had incursions, which hence why we had in the Multiverse of Madness, and in that universe, in the 838, I believe it was called, with the Illuminati, Doctor Strange stopped Thanos, but created an incursion. We don't know what universe he created the incursion with, but it seems that they were able to stop the incursion and destroy a planet. Hence why Doctor Strange was deemed a threat to his universe, and Black Bolt and the Illuminati decided to get rid of him. So in the comics, going back to the comics, we had incursions. The last two universes to exist was the 616 in the comic book and the Ultimate Universe, which I can't remember the number, but that's not important. and they were struggling to find out who was the stronger universe to survive. And it was implied that the universes were going to apply to we're gonna end up destroying each other, and there was going to be nothing left. Reed Richards was trying everything he could to save his universe, and so was another Reed Richards in the alternate universe. So Doctor Doom, alongside Molecule Man, found another way where they were able to create the universes again, but put them all together, which was called in his universe Battle World. Every universe and every possibility all lived in one world, and he became the emperor of that world, of Battle World, and he was called God Emperor Doom. I think the idea they were trying to do this with Kane the Conqueror, but you could do this with Doctor Strange, like have the same thing, like 1 in 14 million chances. He needed to save the universe, but you could do this where he had no choice to stop all the incursions and have him become like God Emperor Strange, for all I know.
That's a lot to digest just now.
It is. It is.
Now,
because oh, go ahead. My fault.
No, I was going to go ahead and let you go because I wanted to take it back to Multiverse of Madness, where when he read the Darkhold, you basically have it was left on a cliffhanger after the third eye showed up, kinda, but at the same time, like you can choose where you want to go with the story after that, and again, based off of what how you're describing this as far as the multiverse is concerned, it's an excellent pivot for Marvel to do with Doctor Strange.
I think so too. And to go back to the Secret War comics, Doctor Strange was the right-hand man of Doctor Doom at that point. He was his strategist. He served him. But also too, like in What If, like the reason why he did what he did was not just for love, but it was also because his dark side was consuming him. And the only reason he was doing it is because his dark side was only convincing him he was doing it out of love. And he was actually allowing his dark side to control and manipulate him, knowing full well what he was doing was wrong. So that the point what I'm trying to get to, like with the whole like bringing Doctor Strange as a villain, is let his dark, like I guess in another way, instead of doing it for love, like, or you want to do it for love, just have his dark side, because he did get a hold of the Darkhold. You could say that for as far as we know, all the Doctor Stranges all got consumed by greed or their dark side because they opened the book of the Darkhold and they were consumed by it. Because remember, he did tell Wanda that he did know about the Darkhold, the book of the Darkhold, because he said it consumes everything and everyone that touches it. So why is Doctor Strange in the 616 any different? You know what I'm saying?
Right. We just saw like earlier signs of the effects in at the end of the movie. So yeah. It shouldn't exclude 616 Doctor Strange into becoming the next villain. Now, I do want to touch on the Doctor Doom thing. Why we don't think Doctor Doom is a good villain moving forward in the MCU.
Okay, I agree with you.
So obviously, we talked about the upcoming Fantastic Four movie, where it's required for Doctor Doom to be in this movie, and if we were to have Doctor Doom in the movie, and just the possibility of him being the next big bad, it doesn't really make sense because of the fact of the development that you had to put into the character.
Correct. Like we stated before, it took Thanos 10 years to actually be the big bad. I mean, we had to build him up, right? We had cameo scenes with him. He wasn't even introduced until 2012, the first
13.
Avenger movie.
Right.
Yeah, so only comic book fans knew who he was if you saw the purple skin. And for the fans who were not, comic book readers or even that interested in watching a Marvel movie to the point where they're like, well, who's this guy? You let up to 10 years to actually throw him out there, and he didn't disappoint. Going back to Kane the Conqueror, you had him built up in Loki. You brought him in Ant-Man. And you had him back in Loki season 2. I think that's as far as we go right now. I mean, but he's being built up to be the big bad, and supposedly he was supposed to be in Multiverse of Madness. I heard, but I don't know if I don't know how correct that is, but I heard rumors about that too. But that would have been
Kang
nice.
was supposed to be in the Multiverse of Madness.
I heard about that. It was rumors, but I can't verify nor deny if that was true or not. But because everything with the multiverse has to do with Kane the Conqueror, and it's not just a time thing. I mean, there are multiple versions of Kane and everywhere in the universe.
Right.
And he is in the comics. He's the descendant of Reed Richards, but it would be great if they changed it where he was the descendant of Tony Stark, because we don't have the Fantastic Four yet at this point. And it wasn't until the Multiverse of Madness is when you introduced that Reed Richards existed in another universe with Doctor Strange, which was great, by the way. Like I still love John Krasinski playing Reed Richards. Was a great tease.
Well, now that's actually pretty interesting. Now that I was sitting back and we're thinking about it. Now we just go to are we cool with just eliminating the possibility of being the Nathaniel theory thing moving forward, because we're not going to have a Kang the Conqueror?
I think so. Because like you said earlier, in order to have Doctor Doom become the villain for like an Avenger movie, you have to start building him up now. And I don't know where they would fit him in a TV show or a movie. But even then, like, it's not enough time. You have to let a couple years go by. Like, I don't feel like you can have him in like 6 months to a year. So maybe even a year and a half. I think you need at least 2 years. And the next Avenger movie is what, 2025? You would have to build him up like right now. You would have to throw him pretty much in every single thing. And you still need to have him in a Fantastic Four movie. And you still have to have him, either if he's the main bad, he can't be killed off, you know what I mean? Because then if you killed him off and he's in another universe, I mean, that kind of defeats the purpose then. Because I think we talked about this in Ant-Man, like how you didn't agree that Kang the Conqueror and Ant-Man could still be alive. And the fact that they beat him so easily by I don't know what rank you want to call Ant-Man. I want to call him a D rank character. I mean, because he's not even like top 3 right now in Avengers. Like, I mean, I love his movies. Don't get me wrong, but like strength wise and power wise, he's not even close to even to the top 3s. The fact that he got beat by I don't want to say body, but got beaten by Ant-Man. I see where you come from with that, because it's like he's supposed to be the big bad, you know what I'm saying? How do you let Ant-Man beat you on all the heroes? You know what I'm saying? You killed Thor, you killed Iron Man, you killed Cap, you killed Hulk probably, but you let this dude like win a battle against you. You know what I'm saying?
It just didn't make any sense where he was sitting in the cell, and then he was like, "Who are you?" He said, I'm Ant-Man. He said, "Have I killed you before?" He was like, "Are you the one with the hammer?" And I'm like, he killed Thor? But maybe they were referring to Captain America. I don't know. But I'm like, at the end, this is not the way I envisioned this. Like, I'm expecting Kang to be like, he had a nice little moment where when he jumped down from his tower, and then he made his little speech, and then he just started obliterating everybody, right? Yeah. And then when Ant-Man came and they started fighting, Kang was handling his business. And then when Hank Pym came and blew the whistle, and all the ants started just like overwhelming him, and I'm just like, really? Like, this is he's the one who beat. Again, I don't know if it's Thor or Captain America, because what's the hammer called?
Mjolnir.
Mjolnir. So at the end of Endgame, obviously Captain America picked up Mjolnir. So at some point, Kang could have encountered one or the other. I'm leaning more towards Captain America, because obviously Thor is a god, and I feel like this would work out a little bit better for the Marvel Cinematic Universe if we actually did kill Captain America, because he's human. So I don't know. It was just a big letdown anyway. So I just feel like it was just doomed from after that movie anyway.
You really thought so?
It was doomed. It was doomed.
I mean, I thought he was kind of OP because I mean he technically didn't lose. I mean, let's be honest, because like we talked about this in the review last time when we did the Ant-Man 3. He bodied Scott Lang, bro. Like I mean, he bodied the hell out of him. I would say he lost the battle, but he didn't lose the war to that. I mean, really there was no real chance because they knew they couldn't overpower him. All they could do was like distract him. That's pretty much was the whole premise of the movie. But I mean, I liked his I like how he played Kane the Conqueror. I would like to see him come back, but like I said, like if you're gonna build him up, you need to build him up now, like the whole Doctor Doom thing. And in order to do that, you would have to have several scenes of him battling like other Avengers or other villains. But even that, like I feel like it would be rushed, bro. Like you need at least 2 years, like minimum, and maybe 5 years tops to be like, okay, Doctor Doom is a bad motherfucker. You know what I mean? Now throw him in Avenger movies. Now I can see why he'll dog the Avengers.
So I just thought of something. So like I remember you was talking about in the comic book, right? That
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what version, what number, or whatever. He was like,
Mm-hmm.
Doctor Strange worked for Doctor Doom in some issue. What issue was that again?
Secret Wars.
Secret Wars. So let's just say hypothetically, if we do end up having this transition from Doctor Strange being the next big bad, he can introduce Doctor Doom at some point when he turns bad. Correct?
Yeah, you could do that. Yeah, like have roles reverse. You know what I mean? Like have Strange as like the god, and then
Like
have Doctor
have him play
Doom.
like if just giving an example, like him be Ronan. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so you're dealing with Doctor Strange for a certain amount of movies, right? I can't reveal who I'm working for. I'm just doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And then boom, here comes Doctor Doom, and we're like, whoa, Doctor Doom, like cameo him somehow.
Yeah.
In the next upcoming movies, cameo him, and then obviously we got the Fantastic Four. We get a little something of him, but it shouldn't cost you too much to cameo him in a couple of movies in the next 3-4 years, 2-3 years, 2-3 years. I feel
Yeah.
like 2-3 years is a good time frame to go ahead and um you know ease him
Mm-hmm.
into the MCU where it won't be too cluttered, if you know what I mean.
No, I agree with you. Like, in this world, he called it Battle World. So, like, to sum up, because a lot had happened in this series, because there was so many different comics at the same time. You had Old Man Logan running around. You had Maestro walking around here. What I'm saying, you had his army was full of Thors. All of them were multiple Thors. That was his army.
Mm-hmm.
Kane, not Kane. Doctor Doom was a god. He was dressed in all white. And you had the Cabal, which was Thanos' group. Like it consists of Namor, his daughter, the children of Thanos, if you remember them, Emily Ma, I can't remember his wife's name, but you had a point where Thanos came up there and it was like, gee, bro, he was the only one that wasn't scared of God Emperor Doom, and he went up there like, man, I ain't scared of you, and Doctor Doom ripped his head off and then like obliterated him. Yeah, he's a badass because I mean, you gotta read the comics. He's a badass, but the whole premise of the whole thing is the reason why it wasn't just to save the world; it was also to get his true desires. Because in this world, Reed Richard happened to get lucky and escape with Wolverine, Peter Parker, another version of Reed Richards with a helmet on, and Spider Woman and someone else I can't remember in the comics. They were able to get away from Doom changing the universe, so they were excluded out of the universe, but they were still able to exist. And in this universe, he had Miss Invisible as his wife, and he had adopted Reed Richards' daughter and son. Because he has a thing for Reed Richards' wife, Sue Storm. And in this universe, he loves Sue Storm so much, bro, that he was willing to accept the fact that like she had kids with this dude, his rival, his arch nemesis, and still raise a family with her. And like it was crazy because he did this just so he could have Sue Storm to himself.
Right.
So the point what I'm trying to get with this is like you could have the same scenario, but instead of having, you know, Sue Storm in it, just replace it with Christine Palmer. Like have him actually rule in a universe that he created with Christina as his wife. And then just like I know a lot of fans are gonna get mad because Doctor Doom is he's a badass, bro. He dabbles in science in the mystic arts, bro. He's a badass. Like he's like top 2 like villains in the world, bro. But I could see them doing the reverse thing where if you let Doctor Strange become a god and you could have his right hand man be Doctor Doom, even though in the comics it was Doctor Strange who was his right hand man and Doom was a god. But I'm not saying to dim him down and make him like a bitch, but I'm just saying like have him tease him now, like bring him out in the movies and then have him become friends with Strange or some stuff like that, you know, along the line. And then Doom is like in the background, you know, because Doom always has a backup plan, bro. He ain't no idiot. Have him be like, I think I want to steal this man's power. And you can have like the struggle where like, you know, he was like, well, now that you're weak and you're open to an attack, steal his powers and let him become God Emperor Doom. Tease it. You know what I'm saying? So then build up to another Avengers because I just don't see him being in Avengers 5 and 6. You have him do it in 7 and 8. Build him up. Like have him witness everything and be like, okay, I could do this too, but I could do it better.
You know what I'm saying? If they did do it that way, it would buy Doctor Doom a little bit more time. They would be able to buy themselves some time.
It would
to reshape the next couple of movies after this year, if they was to do it that way. But
most definitely.
We'll see. There was something else on my mind that I wanted to put out there before we end up closing this pod out because we just hit the 48 minute mark. So, Fantastic Four, real quick. So, would you put Doctor Doom in the Fantastic Four movie? Since we're going through with this theory, would you put him in the movie? How about that?
I want to say yes, but I like how many times have you seen Doctor Doom in the Fantastic Four? Twice already. Twice. So I don't know. Like I feel like they should go a different route. Like introduce him in somebody's show or a movie, and then have him in the main plot of the story, but not the big bad. Like have someone else be the villain, and then have Doctor Doom build up and be like, okay. So now it's my turn.
You're going Silver Surfer is the big bad in the next movie.
I would like to see that, but in order to do that too, you need to have Galactus is not a character that as a villain that you need to one and done. You know, no, you need to build him up too. He's a godlike character too. Like you can't disrespect Galactus like that either. But I don't know because there's so many villains they have, but I just don't see other villains of theirs, you know, being the big bad for them.
How about introduction of Silver Surfer in the movie, but we don't use Galactus for a while? Let's save Galactus for Fantastic Four 2.
I would like to see that, but you know, if the whole Jonathan Major thing, it really kind of screws everything up because I would like to have seen him as another version of himself being King the Conqueror fighting in Fantastic Four. That would have been legit, and have Doctor Doom on the sideline. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want this guy's power. I'm gonna get it. You know what I'm saying? And make him even more powerful. Like he would already be like powerful, but make him more OP by stealing Kane's like, you know, technology.
Right.
But to go back to answer your question, like I would have to I had to retract my answer because I just don't see other people besides Silver Surfer and Doctor Doom. Yeah. Let Doctor Doom be the villain.
Let him be the villain?
Let him be the villain.
So we're going to give him powers in the movie, or he's already going to have powers?
Well, if you're going to do that, either let him start learning his powers and then get, you know, conquered by the Fantastic Four because, you know, 4 of them against 1, he gets jumped. But it doesn't mean he gets defeated, you know what I mean? Like, he runs away. and then he learns his power. Give him some time to learn his power, and then let him become OP. You know what I'm saying? And have him tease throughout the universe like he's doing things in the background. He builds Liberia because he does run his own country, and he gets into the mystic art. Like let him dabble into that the mystic art because he loves learning new things. Like let him become friends with Scarlet Witch or something. You know what I'm saying?
Or let him be like an old student of the what do they call it? The superior what?
What are we talking about?
What Doctor Strange is right now, the Sorcerer Supreme.
The Sorcerer Supreme.
The old Sorcerer Supreme's apprentice or something, and then like he's just hiding. He's just waiting for his time to come out, and then boom, I'm Doctor Doom.
I could see that. Or like he finds out what the whole quantum realm thing, and then he finds out that Kane the Conqueror exists, and then he tries to get involved and steal the technology, or does steal the technology, and then learns from it. You know what I'm saying? Then he comes back, and it was like, guess who? And they'd be like, oh shit, it's Doctor Doom. And this time he's like super strong, bro, super OP.
I can see it. Any final thoughts before we end up closing this one out?
No, the only thing I'm gonna say is I hope if Marvel's watching this, Kevin Feige's watching this, I hope they kind of take this idea, but I'm pretty sure they already know what they're already doing now, because I mean they're always ahead of like schedule. But maybe that would be, I don't think be asking too much from you guys. Just reconsider that decision and have like Doctor Strange be the big bad. What do you think?
Hope they take this idea. And can you give us a little bit of credit, like put Movie Fanatics at the bottom? Thank you, Movie Fanatics, for saving the MCU something. A little something to show your appreciation for our hard working theories. Well, your hard working theory. I'm just the narrator guy.
I agree with you. Totally, yeah. Well, just give us a little bit of credit, yo. Shout out to us. I wouldn't be opposed to that.